Once you've found an on-point statute, the next step is to expand your research using the annotations provided by Westlaw or Lexis. When viewing a statute on Westlaw, you'll find most of this information in the tabs at the top of the page. We previously looked at the Citing References tab in the context of cases. Statutes also have this tab, which allows you to quickly jump to primary and secondary sources that have cited it. For example, we can look at cases that have dealt with this statute, other statutes, regulations, and administrative materials that have cross-referenced it, and secondary sources that have cited it. Because cases can expand on, limit, or overrule statutory language, checking the cases that have cited a statute is a fundamental step in the research process. You can use the Notes of Decision tab to jump to some highlighted cases that Westlaw has deemed particularly important, grouped by topic. This is a useful shortcut for finding cases, but be sure to check the citing references as well, because there might be some important cases missing in the Notes of Decision. You can also use the Context and Analysis tab to view statutory and regulatory cross-references and highlighted secondary sources. The reason why you would use this tab over the list of secondary sources in the citing references is that the information here is more curated. There are 152 secondary sources that cite this statute, and many of them may only mention it in passing, but the articles listed here have been deemed by Westlaw particularly useful for understanding the statute. Viewing secondary sources that have cited a statute is useful not only for understanding the statute's language, but also finding important cases or related statutes. The other option up here is the History tab. Here you'll find notes provided by the editors of the official US Code, and some limited legislative history information, such as these congressional reports. However, Westlaw is generally not the best place to look for federal legislative history information, which we'll discuss in a future module. The last thing we need to discuss is citators. Like with cases, Westlaw flags statutes if they've been given some kind of negative treatment. A yellow flag advises caution. You'll often see it next to statutes when there's proposed legislation that might affect it. Click on the flag to view Westlaw's explanation. It's important to pay attention to proposed legislation like this, but in reality there are a lot of bills that, despite proposing major changes, never go anywhere. A red flag indicates strong negative treatment. You might see it, for example, when a statute has been repealed or if a court has found a statute unconstitutional. Just because you see a red flag, though, it doesn't mean the statute isn't still good law. It's possible that only a particular subsection or clause has been overruled while the rest remains good law. It also matters what jurisdiction you're in. Some circuits may interpret a statute in different ways. When you see negative treatment on a statute, you'll need to dig into the case law for yourself to determine whether it's still good law. Review the module in cases for more info.